So I genuinely cannot believe this. Dana White and the UFC just dropped some amazing news, big news, massive news. In fact, this is probably the biggest news in UFC history. This is probably the biggest news since butter on toast. It's that big of a deal. I really just can't believe at this point that Dana White purposely chose to choose Instagram to announce this news and not go on a full-fledged press conference to announce it. And I'll be the first one to admit it. I was definitely wrong about UFC 300. This is going to be card of the year, the best card of all time, without a shadow of a doubt. I just can't wait for it. So Dana White comes out and he announces Kayla Harrison versus Holly Holm for UFC 300. I don't believe it's hogging a main card spot, so it's going on the prelims. So I just can't wait to watch these two women go at it. I can't wait for these two, just furious fighters, man, who have all the talent in the world, hop into that octagon and just beat each other up and put on a great performance and definitely keep us entertained for 15 minutes. There is not a single thing in this world that I would rather do than watch Kayla Harrison versus Holly Holm. This is going to be the fight of the night, the best fight of all time. I can guarantee it. Everybody should tune in to watch this fight. It's a must-see. It's must-watch television or a pay-per-view. It's a must-watch pay-per-view. If you're buying this pay-per-view, if you're buying 300, you're buying it for Kayla Harrison versus Holly Holm. Matter of fact, they should even up the price of the pay-per-view because we're getting an absolute spectacle, man. We're getting a gladiator fight. We're getting two warriors that are female in the octagon fighting each other, man. I just simply can't wait to be absolutely bored out of my mind, sleeping on my couch, snoozing. I'm going to be out like Kamaru Usman versus Leon Edwards. I'm going to be completely slumped out of my brain watching this fight. I'm sorry I did a quick turnaround for this, but this fight is not what we wanted for UFC 300. I just can't help myself at this point. Dana White, I am firmly done with your antics, and you will be getting oiled up sooner or later by the community. Trust me. I'm kidding, YouTube. That was a joke. I am not going to oil up Dana, and I don't encourage anybody to oil up Dana. But oil him up. But I am happy for Kayla Harrison, man. She gets her shot in the UFC. This was teased, I think, forever ago. I remember at one point she was in the crowd of a UFC event and they put the camera on her and they're like, Kayla Harrison, she's going to be in the UFC here soon. This might have been months ago, maybe a year ago. I don't remember exactly how long it's been, but it's been certainly a while. And now she's finally getting her shot in the UFC. She was over at PFL for a while, one of the more dominant women's fighters there. And overall, she's been regarded as one of the more dominant women's fighters in MMA just in general. So we'll see what she can do in the UFC, but that's not what this video is about. This video is about Dana White and UFC 300. What are we doing with this card? I made a whole video about this in the past. This is a trash card for 300. Listen, overall as a card in a vacuum, 300 is a very good card and I can't wait to watch it. But for the expectations that we had for this card, it does not meet them whatsoever. We were planning on having this card be the best card of all time in UFC history. It's been, what, 30-something years, 31 years I think UFC's been around, and we want 300 to be the best card that we've ever seen name value-wise. And I don't know if Dana White understands this or if he's just pushing through the pain and just doing what he has to do. Yan Xiaonan versus Zhang Weili does not cut it. Kayla Harrison versus Holly Holm does not cut it. I'm sorry, these fights just don't bring any money to the UFC, for one. Secondly, they don't bring any eyeballs or attention to them as well. I don't think anybody's flipping out their wallet excited to pay for Holly Holm versus Kayla Harrison. I don't think anybody's going like fanatic, like, I just can't wait to watch Zhang Weili versus Yan Xiaonan. Now, do we want to watch it? Yes, but on a fight night card, not on a pay-per-view where it's hidden behind a paywall. I don't want to do that. I want to watch like a nice, sick fight with two up-and-coming guys, or maybe like two namestays in a division. I want to watch them fight. I could really give a shit less what Holly Holm does. I'm sorry. She has been in the UFC for a while now. She hasn't done much with it besides beat Ronda Rousey. But that was, what, like 8+ years ago? I don't remember exactly how long it was ago, but it was very long ago that this happened. And overall, she has been pretty much one of the more boring women's fighters in the UFC since then. Holly Holm is literally an expert hugger. She hugs more women in fights than my mom hugged me when I was little. And the truth about this, man, is that nobody really even cares about this fight. Like, she is pay-per-view poison. Now, I know she's on the prelim, so it's not that big of a deal, but I mean, like, why does Dana White get so hyped for this, man? Like, if you watch back his announcement for this, he's like, I can't wait to get these guys or these girls in the octagon. Like, he's so hyped to really announce this, man. And it's just like, the energy does not match the product, if you know what I mean.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That fight is also at UFC 300.
And I know it's Dana White. This is practically his job, or this is his job. This is what he has to do, hype up fights and just be a name that gets people into these fights and more excited for them. But I just don't understand how he's bringing so much energy to this when the product that we're getting is so mediocre or even less than that. I don't know what we're going to do with UFC 300. Maybe we can do Bilal Muhammad versus Leon Edwards for that welterweight belt. Will that still make this card amazing? No, we'll make it better, I guess. But after Leon's performance against Colby Covington, I'm just not too excited for another fight of his. And I do think if we do add that fight onto it, UFC 300 is an abomination. It's terrible. It needs to be thrown in the trash. I love the fighters on there. I love Oliveira. I love Yuri Prohaska. I love all the fighters on there for the most part. But it's UFC 300. It's UFC 300. I wanted title fight after title fight. I wanted big name after big name. And it's just not that product that I expected it to be. It's a great card, don't get me wrong again, but it's just not up to our initial expectations, and it's a complete abomination. And I guess at this point, man, like, we just shouldn't expect anything from the UFC in terms of pay-per-view cards. They care more about Sean O'Malley at 299 than they do care about their actual big 300 event. The UFC doesn't care about their big 300th pay-per-view, so why should we? I don't care about 300, so you guys shouldn't either. I'm kidding, I do kind of care about it, but I want it to be better than this. It's still a great card, but it's not where I wanted it to be. And I'm so disappointed in the UFC that they just don't care enough to really take the limelight away from Sean O'Malley. The UFC is so hell-bent on proving that O'Malley is a big megastar that they took all the fights from that card, or from that should be on this card, and put it over onto 299. And I wouldn't even be mad at all. Matter of fact, I would probably be even happier if the UFC just took some fights over from 299 and put it over onto 300. But these cards are already pretty much set in stone. Nothing we can really do about it right now, which is pretty sad, but I don't know, man. This is kind of me just, I guess, ranting or just shit posting on a YouTube video at this point. So I don't know. 300 is trash. It's not where we want it to be. Kayla Harrison versus Holly Holm is an abomination of a fight to add to 300 in the first place. So I'm depressed. You're depressed. We're all depressed. It is what it is at this point. Yeah, bye. I'll see you later. Like, subscribe, and yeah.